Hi everyone, and thank you for purchasing the social media page Shopify section by qwiqode. In this video, I'll show you how to actually use it. So if you haven't installed it yet, please refer to the separate video included in the package, and you also have access to a PDF with additional instructions. So to get started, we have a few different things to do than the ordinary sections that we offer if you have experience with other sections. Here we have to create a template, we have to add a page, add navigation menu, and then we can go back to the theme editor to edit it. So let's start with creating a template. So you would go to Online Store Themes. Over there, you'd go to Actions, Edit Code. Here, under Templates, you create an add. You click on Add New Template. You'd select Page, keep it at JSON, and here you would give it a name. It doesn't really matter. Let's just call it QQ Links, for instance, and click Done. Now, open up the file called page.socialmediapage.json that's included in your zip file. Copy the contents in that file, and then over on this new page that appears, select all, delete, and then just paste. And it should look just like this. And save. Now, if you're running an older store, a Shopify 1.0, then you won't be able to use these JSON type files. You'll have to create a liquid template. So to do that, select Page, Liquid, put in this name or whatever name you want to use for this template. Click Done. Then head over to the file called page.socialmediapage.liquid. Copy that content, which is just one line, paste it in there, and click Save. Going over to Online Store, Pages, you click on the button Add New Page, then you get to this page. Here, you give it a title. Let's just call it Learn More. You leave the content blank. Over on Theme Template over here, you'd select the new template that we created, QQ Links. You can then take this address, which would be, your domain name /pages/ whatever title you gave it. Let's say Learn More. And just copy it and put it aside for now, because you will see that will be the page that will appear here. That when you click, it opens up this new page that we've created. Next, we want to create a navigation menu for the different links that you want to create to navigate on your site. So you'd go to Online Store Navigation. Here, you can create a new menu, but in this case, we'll just look at the one that we've already created. And I assume that you're already familiar with how to create new menus, but here you can add in whatever type of menu you want to add in. We don't support nesting menus, and it's not a good idea. You want to get just 5, 6, 7 links that are the most important that you want people to go to if they're on Instagram and you want them to learn more. So you'd add in the new menu items. You put in a name for the menu. You'd select the page that you want to show up there, and you will save. Now we can go back to the theme editor and add the section in. So here you would navigate to the page that you just created, the Learn More page, and load it up. look over on the left side, and you have the section here. Now you have 3 different types of blocks that you can add. You can add a menu. You can add social media links to your feeds. And if you'd like, you can also add a collection, like a featured collection of products that you'd like to maybe show visitors without them needing to go into the next page. So you can already entice them with some featured products. Let's start by just adding in some content. Now, before that, I just want to mention, as you can see, this is working on desktop view as well. But most probably people are going to be seeing this on mobile, so I recommend switching it to mobile. We can discuss desktop a little bit later. So we have menu selected. Let's add the one that we created earlier. Put that in there. Now we have menu margin top, so that's the distance here. So we can, if we want more space, we can push that up or down. And we also have margin bottom, which is the distance here, like that. Menu width, the width of the menu, we can set to make the button smaller if we'd like. Oops, that's a little bit too much, but we can do all sorts of different types of widths for the menu. Like, let's say we want something like that. Next, we have border width, so we can make the border thicker. That's something you'd like to do. And change the border radius, so we can make a square by setting it to 0, or just partially rounded corners, or you could just do complete, just like that. Menu padding. Padding gives a distance within it, so you can enlarge the buttons, make them taller, essentially. We can change the colors, so we can change the border color. So let's say we'd like it to be black, and in the background, white, and menu color blue, something like that. Or we can just say we don't want a border at all. Do something like that. And here we can set the gap between the menu items, like that. Let's lower the padding just a bit. There you go. Next, we can set the custom font. Like if you want a different font than what your theme is using. So you can set that, and then here you can change for whatever font you're using or that you'd like to choose from that Shopify offers. Or if you have a manually installed font, you can add the CSS rule right into there, and it'll use that. You can also set the font weight, so if we want it to be bold, or regular, and so on. Font size, so let's say we want the font to be a little bit smaller, so we can do something like that. And then letter spacing. Line height isn't as important, since we only have one line. And there we go. Next, we'll head over to the social media links. So up here are all the fields to the various social media platforms. So whenever you add in a link to your feed, the icon will show. So let's just put in just some gibberish, but you see the icon will show here. We'll put in a few, like that. You can also adjust the margin top, so the distance above and below, if you want more padding, more space in between. Change the color. So we can make that black, but let's just leave it white for now. You can change the size of the buttons. And the padding is basically the area around the button. So when you don't have a border, which I'll get to in a second, you can see that the distance gets a little bit smaller in between. But you can also adjust the gap between them as well, like that. Now here, for icon styling, we can set a square with this background or a circle, like that. And then if you change, you can change this color. So let's just say we'd like a white background, but we'd like the icon to be blue. So we could do something like that, just like that. And if we want just a border around them, then we would leave this as circle, but then we'd remove the background color and then make this white. There you go. Like that. And then let's say, okay, this is too big already, so let's make the size smaller. Let's reduce the padding so that the icon does get a little bit bigger within there, and then we can make that a little bit bigger like that. And then a little bit less gap, and there you go. Next, let's go to collection. So you can scroll up to here, select the collection. So let's just say the featured products. You can change the color, the title, so you can do our featured products or something like that, whatever you'd like. You can set the HTML element for this. The HTML element is basically, it serves two purposes. One, for SEO, because search engines are looking for the importance of content that you set. So if you set this as an H1, if you set this as an H1, then search engines will think, okay, that's a very important and descriptive piece of content, so it'll take it very seriously. Usually, let's say H1s are used for a page title, and they're only used just once. So Google knows, okay, that's the important, that kind of describes what the page is about. So in this case, I would make this one an H1, for instance. And this one can, be H2, H3, whatever you want. Now, the other benefit of being able to choose this is that you'll be able to inherit your theme's styling of the headings of H1, H2, H3, so that you don't have to go in and manually set them here in the section settings. But for now, we can leave this as H3. We have this check for the Show Collection button, which is this button down here. You can hide that so it doesn't appear, or you can have a direct link to it. Now, if you see this chat with us, this is a separate app. Now, sometimes we're not able to hide that, depending on your theme and depending on the app that's being used. And so in this case, sometimes it'll have to appear, but we can adjust in a minute. I'll show you, we can add more padding below so that it doesn't cover anything that you might, like covering this button, but we'll get to that in a minute. You could change the label of this, so view more or whatever you'd like to have appear there. And we can do the same margin top for here, margin bottom, which is also a way that we can push this down, as you can see, so that the chat with us or whatever button doesn't get in the way. Now we can also add in a background color for the entire section, so that it kind of stands out, maybe with the design that you want to use or something like that. So you can add that in too. Next, we have the title, so we can adjust the color. Since we changed this to beige, how about we make this blue? So we have that. We can change its custom font like I explained earlier. You can adjust the font size, the line height, letter spacing, and margin bottom. So if I adjust margin bottom, then you can see I have more space now between that and the products. Next, we have product title styling, so it's these here. Let's change those to blue as well. I think they're a little bit big, so let's make the font size about 14, let's say, something like that. Let's make it, we'll keep it bold. Line height, as you can see here, the line height is pretty tall, so here you can adjust the line height. Next, we can either show or hide the product price here, and let's change that as well to blue. Custom font as well, we can adjust. And let's say we'd like this to be thinner, and maybe a little bit smaller, like that. And we have the settings for the button below. So we have custom fonts, etc., like we did before. Horizontal padding, so we can make this bigger button, or the border width. Max width, we can make the button much smaller if we'd like that. Let's lower the vertical padding a little bit so it'll be not as big. Font size for a letter spacing, and then we can change this to blue, and let's say the background color as well to blue, and the color here to white. And let's get rid of the border. There we go. And we have hover colors, which aren't really relevant for mobile version, but if they're looking on a desktop, then we can adjust the colors for the hover. So we're done with that, with these major sections. Now what we can also do is you can move the order of them. So if you'd like the social to be first, you could just do that, and then adjust the spacing in between, because maybe there's too much space here for your liking, and so on. But let's just move that back for now, like that. Now we go to the main settings. So clicking on this section here below. Now the first setting, this is what I was talking about in terms of desktop. So as you can see here, the section is actually hovering over the entire website. So you don't see the regular header or footer of the website. If you go into desktop, then you can see the header and footer of the site itself. But if you'd like on desktop for it to cover the entire page as well, just check that box. And then everything is covered, and people are forced to go wherever they need, they don't get lost in too many menus, seeing too many menus and everything. It's really straightforward like that. So go back to mobile. We can change the background color. So this one is for the desktop. This one is for mobile. So we can change that for something else that we'd like, but let's just keep it right now at blue. But we can also set a background image color, background image, if you'd like that type of look or something similar. Next, we can add in a logo. So let's go in and add this logo here. So you can see it's quite big, but we can adjust the width of it. So it'll be much smaller. And then we can use margin bottom to give it a little bit more space here if we're interested, between the title and the logo. Then here is the title. So we can write, maybe the name of your brand or whatever you'd like, a welcome. You can put in the hashtag or your handle, and so on. Or you can put on the subtitle your handle, like that. Now, if you don't want this extra text, you could just erase, just like that. Next, we have section top and bottom padding and horizontal. So it's for the entire section. So right now we have padding, top padding of 20. We can move that so it just pushes that down a little bit more. Bottom padding is what I was mentioning earlier. So for instance, if you want more space here, you could just add some more, and then it basically pushes everything up so you have more empty space here. And horizontal padding is the distance on the sides. So if we remove that, then as you can see, there's more space on the sides. And then if you go back to the menu, links and everything, you can make these buttons even more wide or less, however you prefer. Now we have an option to change the title color and the font and all of these these settings for typography, like we saw earlier. The text area as well. So that's this text area. This is the title up here. So these are all basically the same settings. And that wraps it up. So as you can see, now we have a really nice and more of an advanced bio page, as they like to call it. So you can put in, you can put in a short little text about who you are and what you do, and then you immediately have the links right here below, social, and if you like, also the featured products. So that's it. Thank you again, and we hope that this section helps you achieve your website goals and drive more traffic to your site instead of to third parties using, Linktree and all those other third-party sites.